Hey, welcome back to another edition of Everything Football 62. I'm your host, John, the Big Tex Johnson, a.k.a. Uncle Tex, a.k.a. Professor Tex. Before we get started, smash that like button. Got any? Smash that like button. If you got any questions, concerns, anything like that, subscribe to the page. Questions and concerns, leave them down there below. Like I say, let's keep it classy. It's just football. You got any comments, anything like that? I ain't got no problem with sitting up there and responding back to them and whatnot. Your boy went 12-4 last week. They're in week 17, 12-4 and whatnot. I probably could have did a little bit better and whatnot, but I was pretty damn close and whatnot. But I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all these picks for these joints coming up for tonight and for this week as well. We got Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I'm gonna go ahead and take Baltimore. Baltimore is stacking up with the backs because they need to and whatnot. So it's a good pickup that they got and whatnot earlier this week. But I'm going to go ahead and take Baltimore and whatnot because I just think they can possibly run the ball in Pittsburgh, which is something that I don't think I'd ever say. But you can run the ball on them and everything. And I think Baltimore will finish up 14-3. Houston and Indianapolis, I'm taking Houston. I'm going to go ahead and take Houston on them and whatnot over Indianapolis. Cleveland and Cincinnati. I'm looking for Cleveland to do that. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm thinking Cleveland going to come out because Cleveland is pretty hyped right about now. So I'm going to go ahead and take Cleveland. Minnesota and Detroit. After what happened last week with Detroit and Dallas, I'm going to go ahead and take Detroit. Golf got to play a little bit better ball than what he's been playing, but we'll see what happens. But I think Detroit should come out with that. Jacksonville and Tennessee. I'm going to go ahead and take Jacksonville. I think Spinner's going to be playing, so I'm going to go ahead and take them. New York and New England. I'm going to go ahead and take New York with that one. I'm going to take New York. I want to take New York, but I'm like, we'll see. We'll see what happens and whatnot. But I'm going to go ahead and take New York. Atlanta and New Orleans, I'm taking New Orleans. You don't know what you got going over there in Atlanta. That quarterback situation is so raggedy right about now. It's crazy. Tampa Bay and Carolina, I'm going to go ahead and take Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay should win the South. I expected a little bit more from Baker last week to kind of wrap this thing up, but you just never know. Chicago and Green Bay, I'm going to go ahead and take Chicago on that one. Denver and Las Vegas. Like I said, rookie quarterback stuff, I'm taking Denver. Philly and New York, I'm going to take Philly. Philly has to win this. They have no choice but to win it, but wouldn't be surprised. But I'm going to take Philly. Seattle and Arizona. Seattle should win this, but I wouldn't be surprised at Arizona, but I'm going to go ahead and take Seattle. Kansas City and L.A., I think they're resting Pat Mahomes. They're going to probably get Kelsey his yards and stuff like that from 1,000 yards again and whatnot. But I'm going to take Kansas City on that. L.A. and San Francisco. Of course, I'm taking San Francisco. Dallas and Washington, definitely taking Dallas. As for Buffalo and Miami, I'm taking Miami. I'm going to go ahead and take Miami. Now, y'all probably seen from the what's it called, the title and whatnot. You have something right now that's happening that hasn't happened in a long period of time. When is the last time that you've seen I want to call it a white running back leading the NFL in rushing, and it'll possibly be the rushing king for this year? The last time that happened was 61 years ago with the great Jim Taylor, and I'm going to get to that, of the Green Bay Packers. But I'm going to take y'all back. I'm going to give y'all a history lesson. You jokers who act like y'all know about football but don't really know about football when it comes down to the historical aspect of it, that's where I come in at. Okay? So let's do this. Let's take it all the way back to the great Steve Van Buren. Supersonic Steve. There he is right there in his glory. Passed away a couple of years ago. Now, you look at what he did. He led the league 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the league. Came up with a lot of touchdowns, especially back during that era, back during the mid-40s, going into the early 50s and whatnot. His best year was 1,146 yards with 11 touchdowns and whatnot. This is back before Pro Bowls was even going on, but he did this right back during this particular time. So, so that happened at that particular time there, and he is definitely a legend and whatnot. Let's go to that of the next person, and this is kind of links back up with Christian McCaffrey. Let's go back to that of Jim Taylor. Jim Taylor of the great Green Bay Packers, all those games that they won, all those championships that they won and whatnot. Jim Taylor and whatnot. He passed away a few years ago at the age of 83. But this is him here. You go back and let's check his stats out. And this is back when your fullback was the main man, more or less. Now he played at the same time because he's like a year older than that of Jim Brown. We already know about that situation. Y'all can go back and check my archives for that. But back in '62, when I think the Packers won it all, 272 carries in a 14-game schedule, 1,474 yards, 19 touchdowns in a 14-game schedule. Sit on that for a second. Sit on that for a second and what he did. This is why when people ask me, and I've been asked this, well, who was the best and still out, but so far, who was one of the best white dudes that actually played ball and played running back and was a fullback or whatever, or whatever the case may be, was running back, it was Jim Taylor. Look at the stats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row over 1,000 yards in 14-game schedules. One of the years was a 12-game schedule, and then went up to 2. 2 more games, 14. 1474 with 272 yards and 19 touchdowns. And that was the year that he actually led the league finally, because Jim Brown led every year except that particular year there and whatnot. Now, this is where it gets wild at. Now, let's go to this guy here. The Diesel, John Riggins. And like I tell you guys, Riggins, that playoff run he had back in '82 was absolutely phenomenal and whatnot. We go back and we check out and look at his stats at that particular time and what he did. Never led the league in rushing. He led the league twice in touchdowns when he gave him 38 touchdowns. 46 touchdowns in a 3-year span from 83, 84 to 85. Right? And a Super Bowl victory and two NFC championship games and whatnot. Riggo was that guy. He did his business. 1347, 1239, and whatnot. One-time Pro Bowler, one-time first-team All-Pro. First-team All-Pro this particular year in '83. Back in '75, at age 26, he was a Pro Bowler when he played with that of the with the Jets. When you had what's his name, Joe Namath. Let's move on. Let's go ahead and move on. Then you got then for later on, and it was some years, just a couple of years later, you had my man Craig James, SMU, Texas guy, and whatnot, coming out of SMU. Him and Eric Dickerson was a Pony Express and whatnot. Shame that he got hurt and injuries and whatnot derailed his career for the most part. But they did go to a Super Bowl with him. He actually went to a Pro Bowl and whatnot, and he went for 1,227 yards, 5 touchdowns, caught 27 passes, 360 yards, and 2 touchdowns and whatnot, and he made it to that of the Pro Bowl. It would be 25 years later that a white running back would actually rush for 1,000 yards. That goes back to Peyton Hillis. Props out to Peyton Hillis, because I know it's something that went on this past summer. He almost died trying to save kids. I think he was drowning or something like that. Shouts out to him on that. But Peyton Hillis did what he did, 1,177 yards. He played with that of McFadden and all them guys over there in Arkansas and whatnot. And he had 1177. And let me tell you, he didn't make a Pro Bowl or nothing like that, but it was 25 years later that a white running back would actually come on the scene. and rush for 1,000 yards. Now we come up to Christian McCaffrey. So Christian McCaffrey, so like I said, in 2010 and whatnot. So the next time that would happen would be that of a white running back 2007 would be Christian McCaffrey, who would rush for over 1,000 yards in 2018, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, almost 10 years later, back-to-back years, 1387 and 2019 when he went 1,000 and whatnot. This is why I say with him, while McCaffrey now, because he missed damn near 2 years worth of football, he's at 272. Sounds familiar. Goes back to that of Jim Taylor. And Jim Taylor's sitting up there having 272 in 14 games. It's in 16 games, 1459, 14 touchdowns, and I think he has like 6 or 7 touchdowns, over 500 yards receiving, over in receiving and whatnot. He's probably going to be your offensive player of the year, possibly MVP. The last time that you had a white quarterback and that just going by what he did there. If we take this and go ahead and do this the right way, you'll sit up there and see what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that this is something that doesn't happen that often. And since it doesn't happen that often, you will have somebody like, it's never been an Offensive Player of the Year award that's been awarded to that of a white running back, period. Hasn't happened. The MVP was Jim Taylor back in 62, which was 61 years ago. You Brock Purdy playing the way he's playing. So that's why I'm saying, this is why I said at this particular time, these players here are going to be that of your MVP of the league, Brock Purdy, first team All-Pro, which goes back to that Joe Theismann and John Riggins and whatnot, because Theismann won the MVP and Theismann won the MVP. That would be in, we want to say in 83. Joe Theismann won it in 83 and whatnot. So two first team backs, first team quarterback, first team back and whatnot, 83. That's 40 years ago. So here we come with Brock Purdy and that of Christian McCaffrey at this particular time. And do you think for one moment that they're not going to allow this to happen again? This will happen this year because this is an anomaly. This doesn't happen because of so many years of this going on at this particular time. So Brock Purdy and these guys here will be your first team running backs. They will be your MVP and it will be your offensive player of the year going down with these guys here. And like I tell you guys all the time, this is what's going to happen. Y'all come back and holler at me and thank me later. And like I say, there's no GOAT, there's no greatest of all time as long as time is still going on. And like I tell you, numbers don't lie and get emotional. People do. We'll catch y'all at the game.